I spent 30 days going out in Vegas, and my goal was to start from zero, me knowing nobody, to building a social circle. Now, originally, my plan was to go out 30 days straight, but I realized that that was unrealistic.
Oh, hell no!
So instead, I made a commitment to go out at least twice a week. It took me about 2.5 months to do 30 days of consistently going out. Some weeks I only went out once a week. Other weeks I went out 3-4 times a week. I want to show you like how I felt during the first week. It was extremely difficult the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then it got easier and easier. I want to show you some of the things I've learned, okay? Check this out. 30 days, beyond the average 5 to 7 hours of real work that I do every day, I'm gonna go out and socialize, make friends. I want to meet as many people as I can and make as deep connections as I can. And let's see what happens after 30 days. Lesson of the day is don't hesitate, go for what you want, because I'd rather be rejected going after what I want than succeeding getting something I didn't want.
Hey Nina, quick question. I heard there was salsa dancing at the M Resort. They have salsa classes on Thursdays. Is that still happening? Got it. Okay, so that was after COVID that changed. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. We're actually moving this weekend, so I'll be packing all my stuff. But you can see here, I make a list of all the posts I find online, everything I heard from people I met so far. So I called them up and I asked people questions, especially people that work in concierge, and you get that human primary source of information that you wouldn't be able to get online, okay? This is a super powerful skill set. I now have a plan. Day 3 and 4, I'm just, as you can see, we're moving. But yeah, no socializing today. Just trying to get set up as soon as possible, minimize downtime, and get to operating mode and trying to enjoy the process. Wanted to go out this weekend, but check it out. Thunderstorms in Vegas. Last night we had the biggest thunderstorm, I think. Lightning everywhere. I think downtown flooded. I'm about to go out and I'm still feeling pretty nervous. I mean, going out alone is not easy. Today I'm going to like a night show at the water park with a girl that I had a first date with. I think she's more of a friend than an actual potential partner, but she seemed like a good person, a cheerful, optimistic person. And I remember my mentor would always tell me, use your previous night's successes to fuel your future successes. So even though you might start out slow, you might just meet one person. Maybe that person flakes on you. Eventually you meet someone who's like, I'll be your friend. And from there on, you got 2 people now. You're double, 100% more of what you were before. I'm a little bit nervous because I've been alone for the last week or so, trying to make social connections. You know, there's only so far you can get with the first night. Sometimes you can get pretty far, but even if you end up intimate with a girl, you still don't really know someone just after one meeting. So it takes some time to build social connections. And I noticed that it's hard even for me. So don't feel bad if it's hard for you. I'm just starting the motors again. You know, I'm a little bit slow in my reactions. Sometimes I still feel a little scared, but some of the skills are starting to come back again. I went out salsa dancing. I got there early, so I took an hour just walking down the street, going to different bars. There was one girl who was eyeing me. She was with friends and I hesitated. And then when I tried to approach her, another guy was standing next to me and it got a little awkward, so I left. And I realized by yourself, it's a lot harder. People are nice in Vegas, but it's hard. And also, if you see something you like, you have to figure out a way to get there, but also you can't hesitate too much. You just have to be willing to fail, and I wasn't able to do that with my first interaction today. I met a lot of cool friends at salsa. I didn't want to at salsa events, I don't want to go hard and, you know, I'm trying to make friends, but there was one particular girl that I really liked. I got her contact, and there was one other girl that was stunning, but she was surrounded by so many guys. I got to dance with her, I got to talk to her a little bit, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I should have asked her after the dance, just curious, are you single? But from the way that she said thank you for the dance, I sensed the micro expression there was like, okay, thank you, have a good night. I don't know, I felt like I could have pushed it a little bit more, but I didn't. Starting to get back into momentum. I can feel that I'm like trying to ride a bike again. Like I know I can do better than this, but right now I'm just like cranking the wheels again, getting this engine going. You know, I know I'm capable of way more than this, but right now this is where I'm at and it's okay. And going out by yourself, even to a salsa night, by yourself is quite hard, but I enjoyed it a lot and I made a lot of cool friends. So I would say mission accomplished for today. I'm heading out to meet some new potential guy friends. I invited two people, one of them flaked last minute. You just never know. So when you're meeting new people, that happens. That's why I always invite like 2 or 3 people if I'm new in the city, because I'm new in town, right? I don't have a lot of value. I don't have this huge, like, if you're not famous, if you don't have clout on social media, If you're new in a new city, they have no reason to meet you. And so what you do is you invite a bunch of people, 2 or 3 people, and really get to connect with them. At least that's what's worked for me. If, the guy doesn't, we don't get along, or I can just go salsa dancing. So for me, I always have like 2 plans. The first one is just to meet everyone, get to know each other. And then the backup plan is to go somewhere where I can enjoy dancing, regardless if I know anyone. And I do that on my dates too. I'll have like a coffee date or tea, or get dessert, something chill, see if the girl is cool. If she is, I'll take her to dinner, we'll go do something else. If she's not, then I'm just like, oh, thank you, it was nice to meet you, and maybe we'd be friends. So I always have a backup plan. Today, it's good that I have a backup plan, because had I just made plans with that one guy who flicked on me, I would be out alone by myself, or just perhaps like being at home.
It's Wednesday at 7 p.m. We were at Trader Joe's. There were 50 people, and we saw one really cute girl. So that's 1 out of 50. Man.
When you're going out a lot, it is kind of a numbers game, because there were girls that I met that I thought I had an amazing connection with. I got her number, we chatted for like another 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes. And then the next day, dead silence. And then there are girls I met that I got a number from in like 5 minutes. And then she's responding back positively and chatting. It just goes to tell you that in the beginning, you never really know who really likes you and how they perceive you, and what other options they have, whatever they have going on in their lives, right? The girl could be, traveling. She could have other guys after her. She might have other priorities, hanging out with her friends. You just never know. If you're in a new city and you're going out socializing, the key is to just make as many genuine, real connections as possible, and then follow up as best you can. Kind of like looking for a job interview. You don't know what their situation is. You don't know how much of a need there is for them. The only thing you can control is how great is that experience that I'm giving her right now. And that's all you can control. I give her the best experience possible. I demonstrate as much value as I can. I'm empathetic, I'm fun, but I'm also got that little bit of edge to me. Second thing I learned is that I'm starting to gain social momentum again. I'm starting to see, oh, I can get past the fear. You can see in my facial expressions and the way I'm moving compared today to day 1. I'm like, okay, I'm getting into the swing of things. Like, it takes about 2 weeks to really kick in momentum. I think another week of this and I'll be like back to 90% of where I was before. I was really hard on myself in the beginning, like, I'm a coach, I'm supposed to be back on. And like, no, even a great athlete, even Michael Jordan takes, a few weeks to get back into shape when he rejoined the Bulls, back in the 90s. So don't be afraid to just be like, all right, this first week, I'm not gonna be great. I'm just gonna go out and do my best. But I know that momentum will build up and it will kick in.
Oh, cheers to the craziest planet in the solar system.
I think the first lesson that I learned is that you have to push yourself in the beginning. Your brain is telling you you're alone, you're a loser. Literally, like, we're hardwired to think that. And you have to override that and realize, I'm just new in town. And you really have to push yourself, because without that initial push, you'll never gain the momentum that you need to get to the next step. And the lesson I learned is that when you talk to people, you ask them if they want to be friends, you really just can't take anything personally. Like, I don't take any rejection personally. Everyone's on their own path. And sometimes you're gonna meet people that you click with, and sometimes it might take a while to do that, and that's okay. So I don't take anything personally. And then what I look for are things that I can count on. So I myself am very like, go, 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 you know, whatever you want to do, I'm down. I become a yes man because I want to say yes to everything. Even if I think that it might not be right for me, I want to be the guy who's like ready to go, ready to try new things. And when you're that guy, people want to hang out with you. And as you hang out with different types of people, learn another lesson, which is they're the people that you can count on and the people that you can't count on. What I mean is there are people that say, yeah, let's hang out, and they actually follow up. There are people that say, yeah, take my number, and when you text them, they're like, hey, I'm down to come out, or like, hey, I can't come out, but how about Thursday, right? And then there are the people that you can't count on. Maybe you have a great interaction. They're like, oh my God, you're so cool, you're my new best friend. And then when you text them, they're like, oh yeah, I'm busy. And then you text them again, they're like, yeah, sorry, things going on. And so one thing I learned was that you want to find people you can count on. And the way you do that is you watch their behavior, not what they say. Because people say all sorts of things, but very rarely do people behave in contrast to what they really want. So as I make friends, right? And if you're struggling to hit that stickiness factor to make friends, check out the First Day Formula where I teach you how to build a social circle. But as you make friends, I realize, oh, this is a person I can count on. These are people that I can't count on. The ones I can't count on, I add them to like a group messaging thread, and I'll invite them to like fun things I find, like escape rooms or board game nights, or maybe a DJ at a club that one night, but I don't count on them to show up. And the friends that I made that I can't count on, I end up developing a relationship with them, and I get to know them over time. And not everyone's gonna have the exact same, you know, preferences or core values as you, but at least you can count on them to show up, and you develop a friendship that way. When you hit up high value people, right, it's kind of a shortcut. There's high value people, and there's high value people that that align with you. And I've learned the hard way that you just don't necessarily want to connect with high value people too closely if they don't align with your core values. And that's okay. So what I do is I find a way to add value to them, right? I find out what they're struggling with. People always love to talk about their problems. No matter where you are in the food chain, be it financial food chain or social hierarchy or whatever, family money, there's always problems going on. And if you can find a way to talk about the other person's problem and you can find a genuine way to help them, they will pay attention to you. And this is how I get access to social connectors or social access points. But as I'm offering value, I'm always willing to walk away. So I'm never super needy. I'm never like, I need to be my friend, please. I'm always like, yeah, I'd like to be friends with you. Meet me halfway. I'm always like, I extend the olive branch. I extend my hand. And if they want to meet me halfway, then we develop that relationship and we ascend and grow. And I offer my hands, and sometimes they don't want to take it, and that's okay. And I'm like, cool, you know, next. When I was a little kid growing up in Italy, I remember my mom told me in kindergarten, I would go up to like the first person and I'll be like, hey, do you want to be my friend? And that little kid was like, huh? And then I went up to the next person, like, hey, do you want to be my friend? And then the second girl said, yeah, I'll be your friend. So I think as a very young kid, I learned that it's okay to go out and just be like, hey, let's be friends. And you can keep doing that. The beauty of that is that you'll never run out of people to do that with. And the beauty of that is if you ask enough times, somebody's gonna be like, yeah, I'll be your friend. And that's how it starts, okay? As innocent as that story sounds, that's true in real life too. As an adult, sometimes a lot of people don't have good friends. And if you just ask, you shall receive. As I develop my friendships with people, I found like this guy, Aaron, for example, we're very different people, but I find that he's a guy who I enjoy being around, and he's a guy who offers value. You want to watch like how they behave around what's important to them. And sometimes it's a very little thing that tells you a lot about that person. I'll give you two stories if I may. This one guy, Aaron, he was so cool. He shows up on time, and he even offered to give me a ride when it wasn't in his interest to do so. He offered me a ride all the way back to the west side, and then he drove back to the strip to meet a friend, even though he didn't have to. I could have taken an Uber. Another friend drove all the way, I didn't know that he didn't live in Summerlin. He drove all the way to Summerlin, picked me up, and drove me all the way to our event. And then I'm like, oh, we're gonna go back together. And he's like, no, I actually live near the event. I'm like, oh wow, you gave me a ride. Like, that's pretty impressive. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. So these little things, like people going out of their way when it's not in their interest to do so, show me a lot about them. And I saw how they offered to pay for things when I paid I saw how they treated other people, and I can kind of tell, like, okay, this person, he's a good person. He's got values that are similar to mine. Another unnamed friend, I hung out with him 2 or 3 times. And the first time I give him the benefit of the doubt, I saw him kind of ditch one of his friends. And then the second time we were at First Friday, he was hanging out with me, but then I saw that the moment he saw another friend of his, he kind of just like, he kind of brought me along, but not in a cool way. And then the moment that, you know, they had another opportunity, he just kind of left and he didn't even check on how I was doing. And that was the second time that happened. And I don't take it personally, but then I realized, oh, that's how he thinks about things. That's his priority, right? His priority is what can I get out of this? And to be fair, everyone's just operating, you know, based on their self-interest, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. The kind of person I like to become, and the kind of person that I like to be friends with, and the kind of person I look up to is someone who has their own self-interest, but they also are empathetic to their friends around them, because they know that having good friends around them adds more value to everybody than you could by yourself. And so those are little things I look for in their behavior patterns, and I give them the benefit of the doubt. I extend the line of credit. But then once I assess the situation, I know that's how they are, then I kind of create that distance and I don't hang out with them again, because I know that, you know, those are my core pillars and it's not going to work out long term anyway. Being the guy who says yes is really great. You say yes to everything because it will take you to parts of the city that didn't even know existed. Follow your instincts. I found that as I've gotten older, that whenever I ignored my instincts, I was wrong 90% of the time. So I had an instinct about this guy that you know, he would ditch me. I had an instinct about this guy who would be a good friend, and usually I'm right. So learn to listen to that inner voice or inner energy field, and it kind of guides you along the way, okay? And it takes practice, but I've noticed that whenever I ignored it, I was wrong. And the other thing is I learned was that you want to identify your type of girl. I have developed a skill set, a particular set of skills that I don't like clubs that much. I don't like bars that much because it's not, I've trained myself to like it, because when in the beginning, I just wanted some practice talking to girls, and the club and bars had the most number of people I could talk to practice my social skills. But as I got better, I realized that my best, most enjoyable moments are just walking in the park or going to like a festival and just meeting people there organically. And I have developed a skill set where I can talk to anybody, guy or girl, find out what they're about, seek the truth, and make a new friend. Sometimes maybe make a friend with a girl and maybe ask her on a date, or if she's not interested, befriend her as a friend, right? And I find that the most enjoyable for me because I find it to be organic during the day. I find that it's really fun for me, and it feels real for me, you know? And I know that not everyone can do that, and if you're wondering how to do that, check out the links in the description. But I noticed that in cities like New York, when you go to parts of, you know, Central Park, in LA, when you go to Abbot Kinney, when you walk around West Hollywood, in San Francisco around Union Square, there are these places where people kind of gather, and you can just walk around, grab a cup of tea, and just walk up to a girl or a guy that you know, find interesting, or maybe they have a cool style, maybe they have a cool energy field, or sometimes I follow their aura, and just strike up a conversation. Even I've talked to homeless guys for 30 minutes and asked them what their life was like, and that is so fun for me. And I know that in Vegas it's hard to do that because number one, it's so hot 5 months of the year, you can't even go out during the day, and number two, there's no like major like a concentration of people during the day, except at the mall maybe, but mostly young kids and older moms. Fremont Street is only kind of busy at nighttime. During the day, it's kind of sparse. There's the art district, which is kind of sparse as well. So there's no place I can go during the day to meet like all sorts of different people. That is a huge limiting factor here in Vegas, because I don't want to go out to clubs and bars. I don't enjoy meeting girls that way, or some of the girls that frequent bars and clubs. No judgment, just that's my personal preference. I find that I do best in cities that have like a daytime area where a lot of people congregate and I get to meet different people. Some of my best friends and best social connectors came from just going about during the day, just meeting them during the day. Your ideal situation, like one of my friends I met here, his ideal situation is I want to date around, I want to sleep around. Vegas is perfect for him. He can go to the Strip anytime. The club's open till 4 in the morning. You can meet all sorts of tourists. He also confirmed with me that about 1 out of 20 girls you meet on the Strip are actually local. So it's about 5%. For him, it's a great time. He can go guilt-free, just meet people, hook up with people, and that's what he wants to do. And that's what the tourists want to do too. So it's a great place for you to practice, to get your game like calibrated. to really learn how to talk to women in different situations, at pool parties, at bars, at clubs. If you enjoy the music, the party scene, it's great for you. So it just depends what you're looking for. And after my 30-day challenge, it took about 2.5 months. These are some of the lessons that I learned. It's funny because I've done this many times in different cities, and I'm so grateful that I have this gift. Not even a gift, it's a skill set that I really worked hard to acquire over the years. And I think Vegas is not necessarily the right city for me in terms of my dating goals. No matter where you are, I think the biggest gift in life is the ability to connect with people in a real way. Whether it's a casual 5-minute conversation, whether it's a new friend, whether it's a girl that you potentially want to go on a date with. I think just that ability to express yourself that way and to make that connection is such a gift. And so that's why I developed some of the programs that I did. And in every program, in the links that you find in the description, there's a section I call social circle building. And I talk to you about some of the ways that you can organically, naturally do that and feel authentic to who you are. And I hope that wherever you are, wherever you decide to move, maybe you're visiting Vegas or maybe you're moving to a new city, you check out my other videos. But more importantly than that, I think having a plan to learn how to talk to people and make friends. And no matter where you are, right, if you have that skill, even if you move there alone like I did, you will eventually, within 30 days even, sometimes sooner, figure out who's worthy friends, who aligns with you. Figure out which ones are not good friends for you, so you avoid all that emotional drama and the crazy passive-aggressive stuff, right, the toxic relationships. And you start really being a guy who is free, who has freedom in his social interactions. You can go to any city where you speak the language, right? And you know that if you just go out for 30 days, that you will have a new friend social circle and you'll have people you can count on. It started out with just me being a 23-year-old virgin who just wanted, to feel less lonely and, date a cute girl. But it ended up being like a way for me to really transform my life, right? It's about building a life. And your life, no matter where you are financially, career-wise, really comes down to the quality of your relationships and your ability to establish this process of deepening your relationships. As my dad has, even now in his 70s, he's been able to do that his whole life, and he continues to do that. And I think this ability to make real connections will not only result in you dating you're the type of girl that you want, but also to make friends wherever you go, no matter how many friends you have in that city. And that, I think, is true social freedom. And I like to impart that freedom, or at least teach how to do that to everybody, because I think it's such a cool gift and just makes everyone feel more connected and maybe make the world a better place. So that's what I learned in the last 30 days, and I hope this video inspires you in some way. And I hope that wherever you are now, if you're feeling lonely, know that with the right process and the right consistent effort, that you can get there as well, and you can create a great, healthy social circle for yourself.